there's nothing wrong or nothing sneaky about about asking for help. Now, if you've followed me for any kind of time, you're going to know how much I bang on and on about the importance of mentors and coaches. They're going to guide you, they're going to steer you away from unnecessary mistakes, they're going to push you, they're going to hold you accountable, and much, much more. But the key is to be able to select the right ones in a world saturated with fake gurus and experts who are, to be honest, actually expert at nothing other than convincing you to give them your money. Now, there's going to be mentors that you can get that cost you nothing, and there's going to be ones that will cost big money. But the key is not to look at what they're costing, but at what value they're delivering. Now, you can have formal relationships, you can have informal relationships with these people too. I now have a huge collection of mentors, coaches and experts that I surround myself with. I've got informal relationships with successful people who I get to pick their brains over a bottle of wine, and I've got formal relationships with people that train and advise me to ensure that I'm always trying to perform at my best. Now, again, like all of the points that I've mentioned before, the specific experts you need are very much down to what it is that you're looking to achieve. But the key is to know that you need these people, to seek them out and to hire them. The right coach or the right mentor can literally transform your life and your business in a matter of hours or less.
And it's interesting what you say about the importance of, you've got to put yourself out there and ask for help. And I actually did a post about this on social media 3 or 4 days ago about the importance of kind of putting your pride to one side and not having the ego to stop you asking for help. And we talk about these kind of cultural differences between the UK and the US, and something I talk about regularly is the importance of mentors, and that it's something that I really look, if I look back, I've obviously had mentors over the years, in an informal capacity. But I think if I'd have understood and embraced the concept 20 years ago, then a lot of the rough parts of my not so smooth journey may have been a lot smoother along the way. I think there's a very British thing of not asking for help, of feeling that we've got to do it for ourselves, make our own mistakes, and I think ultimately it's a foolish pride that slows us down and ultimately can stop a lot of people from achieving what they want to achieve.
I want to ask you about your views on mentorship and the mentorship culture, particularly in the UK for us. I mean, a couple of times during this conversation, you've referred to a mentor or mentors of yours, and I regularly talk about the fact that I have people now that I consider my mentors. Maybe on a formal basis, maybe informal, maybe friends. Maybe people I've specifically go to for an individual question, or maybe just people I like to, I guess, pick their brains and vice versa. But I always say that I wish I understood the kind of the process of having formal mentors much earlier in life. I mean, it's probably only when I was 32, 33 that I even realised I maybe had a mentor at some point in my 20s. What I would do now to be able to go back and cherry pick these people and have them in my teens, I think would have completely changed. Well, certainly some of the bad things that happened along my journey wouldn't have happened, and it could, very much improve my trajectory. I mean, and I think for me the reasoning behind it is, the UK culture is, we're shy, we don't like to ask for help. We want to, I don't know, I think we want the kudos, if you like, of saying that we're self-made, when the reality is none of us are self-made in any way, shape or form. I mean, what's do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think I haven't got a formal mentorship structure, but I think coming back to some of the earlier things we talked about, surrounding yourself with the very best people you can get means that mentorship is already in there. And it comes naturally and spontaneously. So for me, it works better that way. I like to just roll with things. But for other people, it might work better in a more formal setting where you have a sit down, once every month or something, and it's an opportunity to just basically talk. So no, I really think that's something that people need. Getting that support for mental health, blowing steam off, getting advice, and the more the more diverse your support and discussion group is, the more likely you are to make sure you've heard all the arguments that are possible, and you've had all the advice that's possible from the different angles before you decide which one you want to take up.
Yeah, and I think for me as well, it's about, you know, knowing that, you know, different people have got different skill sets or different viewpoints, that they may not be as successful as you in certain areas, but they're not the areas you need fixing, you know.
Exactly.
You know, and again, maybe it's a British thing, or maybe it's a thing of the 2000s or whatever, that, you know, normally it's people tend to bring it back to money, and it's like, oh well, I've got more money than him, so I know more than him. But, you know, it's a ludicrous comment. I mean, you know, I went for a good friend of mine. We went for a walk on Sunday night. He rang me a couple of days before. He said, and, you know, this guy's worth 10 times what I've worth. He's got super expert in many areas, but he got a particular problem that he says, you know, can we go for a walk, and I want to pick your brains about something. And I guess, you know, for me, the kind of two lessons in that were, I guess, having the lack of ego, you know, to be prepared to take advice from someone who you know, isn't as successful as you in certain areas, but probably has a different viewpoint and is more successful than you in others. And also, you know, the key thing, there's nothing wrong or nothing sneaky about you know, about asking for help. Or picking someone's brains. I mean, I went for dinner with a friend of mine last night. You know, we're friends. We do business together. And I said, I'm in town. We've not seen you for a while. I want to have some dinner. But also, I've got two or three things I want to pick your brain on and get your advice on. And I think, you know, so many people see it as underhand, or, you know, taking a favour. You know, he's as happy to help me as I am to ask a question. And, you know, when he needs something in the future, you know, it'll be a different thing, because obviously he's going to need different help from me. But, you know, you're there to scratch each other's back and pick each other's brains. A big part of this show is about mentorship, and it's something that you know, I talk about a lot, because, you know, I feel that it's something I guess I only really fully got my head around the understanding of over the last 3 or 4 years. And, you know, I always say, if I could have, you know, had mentors, certainly more formal mentors at, you know, earlier stages in my life, you know, my journey could have you know, taken a less rocky path in the early days. I mean, you know, did you have any mentors in the early parts of your career, or, you know, is there anyone that you mentor now?
I didn't have a mentor. I mean, there are people who I would consider to be mentors, and people who are very influential in my life, and people who helped me. I didn't consider them to be mentors at the time. They were my bosses, and they were people I knew who were older than me, who had more experience than me, who were giving me a chance. I have mentored a couple of people, which I'm finding really interesting. It's really difficult. I'm finding it quite difficult, because it's incumbent on me to have an effect on them. It's not good enough just to be present in their life, and I really want to make it work, because I know I've got a certain amount of associations, relations and connections that can potentially help these people. But you've got to do it in a way that is comfortable for them and potentially works for them.